It is very likely that Azeroth has been corrupted for years, right under our nose, and that the Awakening will be complete soon. Remember those dwarves we've recently learned about from Alderman a few months back? Well, a new datamine book info strongly hints that these guys were turned by the old gods and had been digging and essentially doing their job underground, corrupting Azeroth behind the scenes for thousands and thousands of years. We've learned Azshara is coming back from the Void Realm possibly as soon as 10.1. We've recently lit 5 torches. The old stones are like literal torches that will open the way for the old gods to return. The book says that the old gods are trying to use the rage of the primalists for themselves, and we know that Ridicon has been sent underground already. It is also very likely Sergeras already knew all this stuff was happening, which is why he thought Azeroth was just a lost cause and he attempted to destroy it before the corruption spread. So let's really dig into these brand new quotes and see what is going to be happening in the very near future. If you guys are looking to buy Dragonflight or anything Warcraft related, Gamibo has some amazing sales that you can check out with my link. On top of that, you can get software, gift cards, various games at crazy prices. Best of all, you can use my code DORON to add yet another discount to your purchase, so make sure to click my link below, check out Gamibo, and grab some amazing deals. I'm guessing all of you heard of the almost certain return of Queen Azshara in Dragonflight. If you haven't, I have an entire video covering every single line from the new book in great detail. The book called The Song of the Depths that was datamined about a week ago in 10.0.7, which has huge hints for what is going to happen. Now, in this video, let's focus on the book, but only on some of the details combined with the previous hints and whispers, because legit, we may actually be set for some of the craziest changes so far. By pretty much every hint that we have received so far since the release of the expansion, it does seem like either Dragonflight is going to be the old god expansion, the biggest one, or they're using Dragonflight as a way to set up the next expansion that is going to be all about the old gods and the void. Now, the book itself was found in a Naga cave in Forbidden Reach on the Dragon Isles, and it pretty much almost confirms that Queen Azshara is returning. What is really interesting though is that it says that she calls from beyond the Umbral Veil. As we had recently learned, Umbra is the Void, which means she's actually in the Void Realm. Now, seeing that the Naga are writing this, they may not know that she might not be there willingly, but who knows what is really going on. What we were left with back in BFA was that Azshara attempted to betray Azeroth and he took her, and with this recent hint I think we can guess he sent her into the Void Realm, and now she will once again be used as a weapon. Now, what I personally completely overlooked when I first read this datamine stuff, as I thought there was no way these dwarves are going to be super relevant, may actually just be the case. So, if you guys remember, back from the Ultima documents a few months back, we learned about the so-called sector AR938 somewhere on Azeroth. We didn't know the exact location. Now, the titanforged are a workforce used to build, protect stuff by the Titan Keepers, and the Titan Keepers sent a contingent of Earthen to investigate an anomaly, and as the Keepers state, these guys started to fall under the influence of the Curse of Flesh while they were doing their job, and they became almost identical to the dwarves. What is super interesting about this is that we know how the dwarves are created, we know all the history, they all share a common heritage. However, these so-called khaz'algar Earthen can absolutely nothing in common, no common heritage with the dwarves, and it is now very likely that they may have been the first titanforged ever to get corrupted by the Curse of Flesh, even before the curse officially spread, which is of course old god magic. Now, in the book we got this super interesting quote. Even now, the Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty, while they toil away in the deep places. If you're not understanding what I'm implying here is that these Earthen fell under old god corruption, they vowed to serve the old gods, and they have been toiling away in the deep places for thousands of years to essentially continue where the old gods left off, or to work on a mission the old gods gave them. We can't know at the moment, of course, what is exactly going on, but a lot of hints right now say that Iridikron is the so-called Harbinger that is constantly being referred to. He retreated somewhere, hidden away to gather strength, and we also have this line: the Harbinger speaks of a primal power that seeks the end of order. Such rage can be bent to serve our ends. This is one of the most obvious quotes you can figure out from this entire book. It is pretty straightforward. The primal power would be the primalists and the elementals that are trying to break the Titan grasp over Azeroth. We've heard this time and time again across the Dragon Isles. The old gods figured this can be useful and are trying to use this anger for their own purpose, and this is most likely that bargain that Iridikon made ages ago that he even hid from the primal incarnates themselves. Now, we learned that Iridikon also made deals with other underground beings such as the Jardim Elders. However, let's once again look back at the dwarves. So if Iridikon is the Harbinger, he is gathering the children of the First Flesh. First Flesh would imply that they first succumbed to the old god curse. Initially, I thought that these dwarves are just going to be an Easter egg type thing, maybe some flavored dwarf lore that no one really cares about, but we may actually be getting old god dwarves, like an entire titanforged race that has been doing the old god's bidding. Keep in mind, the Alderman document states that they went to a strange anomaly, and this is where they got corrupted just completely unexpectedly. In my opinion, I think this might be the place where the old gods have been corrupting Azeroth, like the epicenter of their corruption. They might not have accomplished that mission fully, and then they corrupted these guys to set up the ground until they're free, so they can come in to finish the job. We have even further quotes that attest to this. As one storm recedes, another rises. The torches have been lit. I mean, this is the old quote we attributed to everything and their mother, the famous 5 keys to open our way, 5 torches to light our path, 5 lanterns now darkened, the flames they seek will light the master's way. Now, I am aware we've attributed this to everything that we could think of, but seriously, I mean, just look at the 5 oatstones. They're literally, like, quite literally 5 torches that we have quite literally recently lit. Then we have even more interesting stuff. A dark heart left broken awaits the taking. This could be anything. Personally, I could even see this being Azshara, as we've seen his quite literal dark heart. However, it is also very likely talking about Azeroth itself. In Old God's narrative, the dark heart, the one they're creating, has been left broken because they were just about to finish the job, and now it awaits the taking. The taking is imminent. Then we have the most interesting quote out of all of these. When these things come to pass, the Harbinger will fulfill the final prophecy and complete the awakening. By the goals that we know, the final prophecy has always been to corrupt Azeroth, to turn her into a void being, a void titan, but this line, complete the awakening, really implies that they almost finished the job, then they were imprisoned, set back, and now they will finally complete it. This also brings us to the old Il'gynoth quote. At the hour of her third death, she will usher in our coming. I mean, these deaths may not be literal, but we've had the first near-death experience with the Well of Eternity 10,000 years ago, second would be the Sword of Sargeras, and now the third could be the events that are about to happen that we're about to see. All of this could also bring us back to the Sword of Sargeras and explain why he tried to brute force it. As you may know, back when he was a Titan, Sargeras realized that the old gods can only be defeated by force, and he just split an infested planet in half to destroy it, and I guess he actually succeeded. Now, the Titans might have thought there may be a more gentle way, but maybe that was not the case. Sargeras could have been aware of this prophecy about what is to happen, and he attempted to just finish the job, but we essentially saved Azeroth, inadvertently helping the old gods to continue their mission. Lastly, in this book, there is also the quote that is very interesting. A hunger lost to the ages will be reclaimed. Iridikon was mentioned to have this mysterious hunger, the super dark hunger, and the most well-known character that had this hunger is also Galakrond. Now, this could either imply that we might see the awakening of Galakrond, but the wording says reclaimed, which could imply that Iridikon may get this hunger himself by reclaiming the lost legacy of Galakrond. So ultimately, by the way things are set up, I don't feel like we may be actually getting a full-on old god expansion in Dragonflight, but that we could see a Galakrond Iridikon as the final boss of the Dragonflight, while the next expansion may be all about the old gods and the ultimate battle against them. We have the hints for a new potential old god continent, so this might be the place where the corruption is about to happen. Keep in mind, of course, all of these are just heavy hints at the moment, so it could definitely really go multiple ways. It's super hard to speculate when you have like 10 different hints, because in order to make a point, you need to assume a bunch of them are true, but maybe one may not be, and then it just completely messes the speculation. However, what I could totally see happening is a Galakrond type Iridikon as the final boss of this expansion, which would complete the Dragon Isles and this expansion, while all the ground has been set up for the next Old God Void expansion and this imminent awakening of Azeroth. Thank you for watching. Check out Could We Get the Scout Crusade, rejoining the Alliance by clicking on the screen, and check out Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time!